Okay, so I want to look a little bit more at Article 1 and particularly where it says la sovranità appartiene al popolo, because I want to compare that to England. England or UK, the sovereignty needs more explanation here. The sovereignty belongs to the Queen. The Queen has the sovereignty. The Queen is part of Parliament. Parliament is the House of Commons, the House of Lords and the Queen. And the sovereign part of Parliament is the Queen. Originally, this sovereignty before 1215 was absolute in the King. Then there was the Magna Carta, which limited this sovereignty. But the sovereignty continued until the present day. And what is this sovereignty? This sovereignty is the power of royal assent. If there's a law, the law is only enacted when the Queen signs her name. Now this, they say, is ceremonial, and she doesn't, it's not really, she can't say no. But we've got to remember the Queen is an individual with the universal freedom of saying yes or no. If she says no, we can't do anything. And I think if she does say no, and this hasn't been tested for hundreds of years, but if she does say no, the law is not valid. One of the only unchangeable parts of our Constitution, the only unchangeable part, is a law is enacted by the Queen and approved by Parliament. And that is fundamental for all the courts to recognise a law. That needs to be done. We don't know. With the English Constitution, you never know what would happen if it didn't run the way it should run. If something like with Brexit, for example, it was tested, and nobody really knows what would happen if, for example, the Queen didn't decide. Maybe the Supreme Court, the judge, would say we accept this as a law, and it could be applied. Maybe not. Maybe the Queen could close the Parliament. The Queen has the power to dissolve Parliament and to open Parliament in the Buckingham Palace with her supporters. So, we're into a very grey area. The English Constitution is very vague and full of doubt. When we had the Brexit deal being negotiated, Boris Johnson wanted to prorogue Parliament. He wanted to close Parliament for 5 weeks with the excuse that they needed to move to another session. But many were saying this was to avoid discussing and scrutiny of the Brexit deal. And he did shut Parliament, and then the Supreme Court said, no, this is not possible to shut Parliament. Boris Johnson said, yes, it is possible, and nobody knew if it was possible or not possible. But Dominic Reeves, a Member of Parliament, threatened to open another Parliament across the road in the church with the Speaker, with all the pro-European MPs. And that is what changed Boris Johnson's mind. So it really, the English Constitution is very flexible. It can be changed like that just by a judge seeing things in a different way. The Speaker changed the constitution, saying that no longer did government organise business. Normally the government organised what they talk about, etc., and they were avoiding talking about what Parliament wanted to talk about. So the Speaker said, no, we're going to have a vote on what should be the organisation. So the Speaker changed the Constitution in an instant. And that is one of the features, one of the characteristics of the British Constitution, is it's so flexible. The Italian Constitution is very clear, and it's very certain what should happen, very detailed, and it's backed by a constitutional court which is higher than any other body. So the constitutional court can annul a law of the Italian Parliament. So there is this force that the constitution has in Italy, which the English constitution or the British constitution doesn't have that. It's something which seems to evolve with tensions and contains a lot of doubt. But there is, the Queen is the sovereign. She's called the sovereign. She's not voted for. So the power, the sovereignty doesn't travel from the people to the Queen. It travels from sovereign to sovereign, from her person to the next in line. And that's the way it's done in England. So there is this, it needs to be clear where the sovereignty is in England, and it is with the Queen. And the Queen is also higher than any court. No court can try the Queen, for example. That's another aspect that shows she is really the sovereign. She's higher than that. Now, just a little bit of going through these articles and a quick overview. We've got Article 1, which really gives us a definition of what Italy looks like from a distance. We've got the shape of Italy. It introduces us to Italy. And in Article 1 you have the Social Democrats quite happy because it talked about Fondato sul Lavoro, and it talked about the sovereignty being with the people, and particularly the Fondato sul Lavoro was something that the socialists and the Marxists were pleased about, even though the Marxists wanted Fondato dei Lavoratori, so it was a bit of a compromise, but the liberals left. They preferred Fondato sulla Libertà. Being liberals, they saw it in a different way. But then the liberals would have been happy with Article 2, which recognises these freedoms, these inviolable rights of man. So the freedom to be who we are, which is what being liberal is all about. Being free from restriction, which is very, very English, or very British, according to our cultural inheritance. And then, if we look at the other part of Article 2, we also see more the social side of value of solidarity. So we're valuing our relations and that concern for the interests of the group, not just the individual, not just thinking about my individuality, but also the group. And then we've got the Article 3, which was the start of the social state. So here the social and the Marxists would be very happy because they're talking about equality of social dignity and equality before the law, and the fact that the state must do something to help us progress towards the development of people. They talked about whatever limits our equality and freedom. So you've got both sides of the coin there, but you need a big state, you need a big social state. And then Article 4 about work, and the fact that work is a social right, the right to work, the Republic must promote the conditions. So here we see that there's this social force, the fact that the government must intervene in the economy. It's not left free, which would be more liberal. So they would be very happy with that. And then Article 5, which balances unity, the group, with the autonomy of the local areas. So autonomia locale. So that would be keeping the Liberals happy. The fact that it says recognises, showing it's a universal value, that they're able to be different. The local areas are able to express their individuality and their diversity and be autonomous, which the Liberals would be happy with too. They would be autonomous and decentralised. And then again, protection for the minority languages, which is protecting diversity. That's very important. And also the socialists and the Marxists would be maybe happy to protect the weaker groups. And then the division of the church and the state, which is very democratic, must be like that, otherwise we're not a democracy. And Article 8 is about expressing our religion, which is our very deep fundamentals of our identity. Our religion is really deeply part of our identity, so the Liberals would be very happy that they could express that. Then Article 9 really is looking towards developing our culture and expanding our culture, and the Republic itself, so all the public entities are involved in promoting this, but also protecting our identity in the past, protecting who we are, our historic patrimony and the paesaggio. So that's more about the past. And then we go towards the international aspects of the Constitution. Article 10 and Article 11 will be looking outwards, not just talking about building a community and how we're going to build our community, Italian community, but now looking at the international community and what our role should be in the international community. How should we be towards other sovereign states?